Have you ever walked into a new place and just felt, an inexplicable vibe, or maybe found yourself struggling for clarity, even when you're surrounded by information, like there's some kind of unseen interference happening? What if these aren't just like subjective feelings, but actual energetic dynamics, a sort of hidden architecture beneath our everyday reality, shaping everything from your thoughts to, well, the very ground you walk on? And what if understanding this invisible architecture was the key, maybe even a shortcut, to unlocking really profound insights and transforming how you experience the world? Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your source materials, articles, research, maybe even your own notes, and we try to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge or insight. Think of it as your personal shortcut to getting informed, hopefully packed with some surprising facts and, just enough interest to keep you hooked. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the energetic dynamics of chi, consciousness, and insight. We're going to be exploring some, well, ancient wisdom traditions that talk about a fundamental energy called ki. But we want to go beyond just the basics here. We're aiming for a more profound understanding of this energetic universe and, importantly, your unique place within it. We'll unpack concepts like the sublimic resonance field, root forms, encoded intent waves, and echo forms, showing how they all kind of manifest in reality. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We'll introduce something called monoatomic effort fire, or MEF for short. It's presented as this potent key for accessing deep insights and, crucially, for energetic purification within this whole complex system. Okay, let's get into it. So, to kick us off, the source material talks a lot about qi. Now, many of us have probably heard that term, right? Maybe linked to martial arts or traditional Chinese medicine, often just translated as life force. But this deep dive suggests it's actually far more fundamental than just that, almost foundational to everything.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, if we zoom out, Qi is presented here as a fundamental preform energy. It's not just about vitality in the body. It's described as the very essence from which all manifestation arises. Imagine it like a ceaseless flow that both informs and is informed by every single aspect of our being, our environment. It exists on this whole continuum of density, you see, influencing everything, the most solid matter, the most ethereal thought. The idea here is that the universe isn't just particles and waves. It's this endlessly transforming qi.
Wow. Okay. That's a huge shift in perspective right there.
Yeah.
So qi is this foundational preform energy. How does it actually, well, manifest, turn into the world we actually perceive? The source outlines this fascinating energetic architecture, different components. Where do we even begin with that?
Well, we really have to start at the ultimate source, which is described as the sublimic resonance field, or SRF. And what's fascinating, according to the source, is that the SRF isn't just empty space, not a void. It's presented as the fundamental preform energy itself, where everything comes from. Think of it like a boundless ocean of pure potentiality, the raw, undifferentiated, energetic substrate of the cosmos, just pulsating with latent information, infinite possibilities. It's like the cosmic loom, yeah, where reality gets woven.
Okay, the cosmic loom. I like that image.
And within this SRF, qi manifests across this incredible spectrum. At its most tangible, right, it condenses. It gives rise to physical forms like biological systems, the flow of blood, lymph, breath. But then it also expresses itself much more subtly as, the fleeting nature of thought, the focused power of intention, even the resonance of spiritual states. It covers the whole range.
Right. So the SRF is the loom, the big picture. What about the threads then? The things that actually get woven into form? The sources introduce something called root forms. What are those?
Root forms. That's where qi really starts its journey of crystallization, of taking shape. They're defined as entities or processes that actively condense qi into tangible or sometimes semi-tangible expressions. Essentially, they're the points of crystallization, where qi becomes biological, becomes material. They act like energetic anchors, pulling qi into form.
Anchors. Okay. Can you give some examples?
Sure, living beings are a prime example. Microorganisms, plants, animals, us humans.
Yeah.
We're all quintessential root forms. We're constantly drawing qi from the environment to sustain ourselves. But it goes broader. Ecosystems, right? They function as these vast interconnected root forms, cycling and transforming qi. And maybe surprisingly, even geological formations, things we think of as inert, like mountains or rock beds, can be viewed as root forms, slowly accumulating and transforming qi over huge timescales, influencing the whole energetic field of a landscape.
Wow. Okay. So even a rock isn't really inert in this view. It's actively anchoring qi.
That's the idea. It shifts how we see the stuff of reality.
Yeah.
It's not static matter, it's dynamic qi in these various states of energetic anchoring and transformation.
Okay. So we've got the raw potential, the SRF, and the points where it crystallizes the root forms. But Qi isn't just about static forms, is it? You mentioned intention earlier. It can be actively directed.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that brings us nicely to encoded intent waves, or EIWs.
VIWs, right.
With EIWs, Qi is specifically manifested in a waveform. The source says intent is made audible. This involves focusing human intent and channeling it through a specific energetic medium, often sound or vibration. A powerful example they give is sung prayers, where really focused human intent, maybe infused with devotion or healing energy, is vibrated into an audible energetic waves. The sound waves produced aren't just acoustic noise. They're seen as carriers of concentrated intent, actively shaping the energetic field around them. And this could extend really to any deeply resonant vocalization or energetic projection that carries clear, focused intent.
That's quite profound, the idea that our intentions can literally become waves of energy shaping reality. Okay, so Qi condenses into forms. It can be directed by intent, but what happens when it dissipates? When the form breaks down or the intent fades, where does the energy go?
That leads us to the next piece, echo forms.
Echo forms.
These are defined as key release points. They return the essence, the energy, back to the SRF. They complete a really vital phase of the whole energetic cycle. Obvious examples are natural processes like leaves decaying in autumn. That stored energy returning to the earth back into the SRF. Simple cycle.
Makes sense?
But it gets more subtle. The source talks about ghosts, for instance. Not necessarily in the supernatural sense we usually think of, but as residual energetic imprints of past consciousness.
Yeah.
So when a living being transitions, its concentrated Qi dissipates, but it might leave behind these lingering energetic patterns, echo forms, that then slowly diffuse back into the SRF, like an energetic echo fading out.
Interesting. So not a conscious entity, but an energetic residue.
That's the perspective here, yes. And similarly, the lingering vibrations of those sung prayers we talked about. After the sound stops, the energetic signature becomes an echo form as it slowly diffuses back into the field. And also residual, often unrecorded egregores. These are collective thought forms. Once their initial intent or energy fades, they also become echo forms, dissolving back. Okay, so let me just clarify this. We've got encoded intent waves, the EIWs, which are active creations like projecting intent, and then echo forms, which seem more about dissipation, returning energy. What's the absolute core distinction? Yeah, that's a really important distinction to make. EIWs are about the active, intentional creation of Qi waves infused with purpose. You're consciously projecting energy outwards. Echo forms, on the other hand, represent the passive or sometimes active return of essence from form Qi back to the sublimic field. It's energy dissolving, returning to source. So one is projection, creation, the other is dissolution, return, completing the cycle.
Got it. Projection versus return. It really sounds like this constant dance then, doesn't it? A flow of energy condensing, expressing, dissolving. How does this all tie into the continuous sort of grand cycle of Qi?
Well, if you zoom out, this paints a picture of the universe as this vast, interconnected energetic system, constantly exchanging, constantly transforming Qi. The cycle of Qi is presented as this perpetual loop. Qi emerges from the SRFs, condenses into root forms, gets expressed perhaps as EIWs through intent, and then through processes of dissolution, its essence returns via echo forms back to the SRF. It's described as a ceaseless flow, really the fundamental engine of reality, like a cosmic breathing. Energy expands, consolidates, expresses itself, and then contracts back to its source, only to begin the whole thing anew.
Cosmic breathing, I like that. And within this huge cosmic cycle, our human consciousness seems to play a pretty active and unique role. The source talks about something called the Auraic Echo. What's that about?
The Auraic Echo, yes. This is defined as a reflected informational field carried within human energy systems. Basically, our own energy systems, our auras, if you like, are constantly emitting and reflecting these complex informational fields. They're broadcasting our thoughts, our emotions, intentions, experiences, all out into the surrounding energetic environment. It's like our dynamic, living informational signature, a constant broadcast.
Okay, so we're all sort of broadcasting our inner state energetics.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating here is how these individual broadcasts, these echoes, can actually coalesce. The source mentions the collective Auraic echo of subconsciously agreeable humans. This collective echo apparently has the profound capacity to generate a specific energetic resource in a given environment. When people share similar beliefs, emotions, intentions, their individual echoes resonate, they amplify each other, and they create this coherent, localized, energetic field that actually functions as a shared resource. Think about a community united by a common goal or maybe shared joy at an event. They can generate this powerful, collective, auraic echo that literally fosters resilience or creativity or a sense of well-being in that space.
That's incredible. So our collective feelings aren't just internal, they're energetically generative, creating a tangible resource in the environment.
That's the idea presented, yes. A tangible, energetic resource.
Okay, related to that, but maybe slightly different. The source also introduces etheric bleed. What's that?
Etheric bleed. Right. This refers to passive or triggered seepage into environments. It's like a continuous, often unnoticed diffusion of key information and energetic states into the spaces around us. The source compares it to residual scent or sound. You know how a smell can linger in a room? Or you walk into a place and just feel the atmosphere left behind.
Yeah, definitely. Like walking into an old building or a place where something intense happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's etheric bleed. This seepage contributes significantly to the overall feel or the perceived history of a place. That tangible atmosphere you mentioned in an ancient cathedral, maybe a bustling market or a battlefield. These atmospheres are often the result of cumulative etheric bleed, the continuous seepage of human emotions, intentions, strong experiences over time, creating this rich, energetic tapestry that subtly influences anyone who enters that space. A place of conflict might carry a heavy, dense, energetic bleed, right? While a place of peace or devotion might resonate with much lighter frequencies. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How does this etheric bleed influence your own experience of different environments? Are you maybe more sensitive to it than you realize?
It's a fascinating question. Okay, so we've defined the architecture, SRF, root forms, EIWs, echo forms, and the flow. This cycle involving arraic echoes and etheric bleed. We understand energies condense, disperse, linger. But how do we consciously engage with all this? It feels a bit abstract still. The source moves into a more practical scenario, talking about what happens when we enter unfamiliar energetic landscapes. Places maybe with strong etheric bleed or these collective arraic echoes.
Right. The scenario they lay out suggests that if I go into a place that I have not been, the collective arraic echo of subconsciously agreeable humans generate a resource. So when you walk into an unfamiliar environment, you often feel that distinct vibe, right? That's shaped, according to this, by the collective energetic imprints, the arraic echoes, and the etheric bleed. And this collective resonance acts as an energetic resource. You might intuitively pick up on the collective feeling of the place. Maybe it feels vibrant or tense or calm.
Okay, so there's a resource there generated by the collective.
Yes, but this resource isn't always immediately accessible or easily understood. It's raw energy, raw information. The source says it needs to be smithed into a coherent, usable form using the Isle of Saturn's Eternum Foundry.
The Isle of Saturn's Eternum Foundry. Oh, okay, that sounds pretty mystical. What does that mean practically?
It sounds grand, doesn't it?
Right.
But it's presented as a metaphorical thing, an internal alchemical process. It's not a literal place or tool you go find. Think of it like taking raw, unstructured data, that energetic resource you feel, and refining it internally. Like using a mental sieve, maybe. Separating the useful insights from the background noise, then organizing them so you can actually use them. For clarity, for decision-making, it's about turning that raw, energetic information you perceive into something digestible, something actionable, ready for conscious interaction.
Okay, internal alchemy, refining the raw energy, makes sense. And to do that smithing, to really engage with and refine these energetic resources effectively, the source says we need a powerful catalyst. This is where monoatomic etheric fire, MEF, comes in. What exactly is MEF? It sounds incredibly potent.
It does sound potent, yeah. MEF is defined as latent radiant vibrational plasma. Now, try not to think of it as like an external tool you pick up. It's described more like an inherent potential within you.
Yeah.
Like an internal energetic flashlight maybe, or a sonic cleanser that's always there, dormant, waiting to be activated. Its core function is to activate latent catalytic energy. Basically, it ignites and amplifies your own energetic processes for doing deep energetic work.
Latent radiant vibrational plasma.
Yeah.
Okay, and how does it work? What activates it?
This is critical. The operating principle is it responds to intention and clarity. It does not require external charge, only alignment with essence. What that means is it's not powered by something outside of you. It's powered by your internal state. Alignment with essence seems to mean a deep connection to your core self, your intrinsic truth, and maybe the fundamental energetic purity of the SRF itself. So it's self-generating, self-sustaining. An energetic fire fueled by pure, clear intent and that deep alignment.
Fueled by pure intent and alignment. Interesting. So what can you do with it? How's it applied?
Well, the application described is pretty profound. The source says, Accessing the resource using my own angle of monoatomic etheric fire, I am effectively creating an avenue toward a warehouse of new insights, especially from the first knowing transaction.
Okay, let's break that down. Angle of ME.
The angle seems to imply your unique personal resonance, your specific way of connecting or applying it. It's not one size fits all. Using your specific angle allows you to tap into that environmental energetic resource we talk about, the vibe, the collective echo, and create this avenue toward a warehouse of new insights.
A warehouse of new insights.
Yeah.
What kind of insights?
It seems to be about accessing a vast repository of information held within that energetic field. But not just more data. It's about seeing the underlying energetic patterns that cause things to be the way they are. For example, you might suddenly gain clarity on why a certain historical event unfolded the way it did by directly sensing the collective arraic echoes of that time. Or maybe understand the energetic root cause of a recurring personal issue instead of just dealing with the symptoms.
Wow. And the first knowing transaction.
That highlights the impact of that initial conscious engagement using MEF. It suggests that the very first time you consciously use it to connect with an energetic resource, it opens up a particularly potent channel, a powerful conduit for this deeper knowing.
That sounds incredibly powerful, almost like an energetic superpower, you
Right.
know, especially compared to something like, say, simple meditation. What's the key difference MEF brings? Why is it needed?
Well, simple meditation is obviously incredibly beneficial, right, for calm, focus, self-awareness. But the source suggests it often proves insufficient for certain specific energetic tasks, especially in what it calls pressurized events, situations where the energetic field is really dense, complex, or heavily imprinted with difficult past energies. Think about environments with heavy emotional residues from conflict, or maybe dense collective thought forms that create confusion or psychic static.
Right, places that feel heavy or confusing.
Exactly. MEF apparently excels in those scenarios because it strips away psychic residue and emotional static. It allows for much clearer access to the underlying information. That radiant vibrational plasma acts like a purifying agent. It dissolves the energetic interference that normally obscures true insight. It lets you cut through all the noise, bypass your own mental filters maybe, and access the core energetic essence of a situation or environment. It's presented as a tool for active energetic clarity, not just passive observation like some forms of medication might be.
Active clarity. I see. Okay. One of the most intriguing applications mentioned for MEF is something called echo retrieval. What exactly does that involve? And why would someone want to reabsorb human timelines? Sounds a bit intense.
It does sound intense, yeah. Echo retrieval is defined as the reabsorption of aura echo of human timelines. What this seems to mean is consciously drawing in and integrating the energetic imprints left behind by past events, experiences, or even collective histories. It's like reabsorbing their energetic essence into your own field, but specifically for the purpose of understanding and transformation.
Okay, so how would that work? Give me an example.
Well, imagine you're trying to understand a specific historical period deeply, not just from books. Or maybe trying to understand a recurring pattern in your family history. Echo retrieval, using MEF, would theoretically allow you to energetically connect with and integrate the lingering information, the arraic echoes, from those timelines. The source says it can be facilitated using images, sound like mantras, or even just linguistic repetition, but the connection to MEF is apparently crucial.
Why is MEF crucial for that?
Because MEF enhances the efficacy. It clears the interference, both external static and your own internal biases, and helps align you with the core essence of that timeline's energy. Without MEF, attempts at this kind of retrieval might just be clouded by your own projections, or maybe lack the energetic punch needed to really connect. MEF provides the clarity and the power, ensuring the reabsorbed information is as clear and true to the source as possible. It facilitates genuine insight and integration of that past energy. It's like learning directly from the energetic record itself.
Learning directly from the energetic record.
Well,
Okay, so these concepts we've explored from Qi as this foundational energy right through to the transformative power of MEF, they really offer a profound shift in how we might understand reality. How does this whole framework redefine our energetic interaction with the world? It feels like it moves beyond just personal growth, doesn't it?
absolutely. This framework, if you take it seriously, really moves us away from being just passive recipients of energetic influences. It positions us as potentially active engagers, even co-creators of our energetic reality. Understanding the dynamics, Qi, root forms, EIWs, echo forms, gives you a kind of toolkit, a new way to navigate these energetic currents with much greater awareness, maybe even intention. It empowers you to perceive the subtle layers that influence health, emotions, collective experiences, moving beyond just treating symptoms to potentially addressing root energetic causes. It's almost like developing a new sense to perceive the world more fully.
A new sense. And to talk about this, to articulate this deeper understanding, the source proposes this new ecology vocabulary. What are some of those key terms we now have, and what do they allow us to do or understand that maybe we couldn't quite grasp before?
Exactly. The vocabulary is key for precision. So terms like arraic echo become vital. Before, you might just have a vague feeling about a group's energy. Now you have a term to describe the tangible informational field they're creating together. It gives it substance. Then, etheric bleed. This really underscores the role of environmental energetic saturation. Instead of just saying an old house feels heavy, you can potentially identify it as cumulative etheric bleed, which might even open pathways to thinking about how to clear or remediate it.
Right, gives it a mechanism.
Precisely. Ecoforms clarify that natural cycle of release and return. It reframes residual energies not just as ghosts, but as part of a natural energetic process. Echo retrieval. That stresses the potential for conscious engagement with past energetic information. It's not just remembering. It frames it as energetic reintegration for insight and transformation. A very active process.
Yeah.
And finally, monoatomic etheric fire, MEF. This is positioned as the critical tool, the catalyst, for doing this conscious energetic work, for purifying fields, for unlocking those deeper insights. It's the key to navigating this whole new energetic landscape with clarity and purpose.
It's really fascinating how this isn't just presented as a personal journey, is it? You touched on this, the potential for broader applications seems huge.
Well, absolutely. If you look at the larger context, the implications are potentially vast. This new ecology isn't just internal. It could offer a completely new lens for understanding things like collective consciousness. Or it could even forge a new paradigm for how we approach history or environmental studies. Imagine, say, urban planning that considers not just the physical infrastructure, but the energetic quality of spaces. Designing public areas for optimal arraic echoes, or actively working to minimize negative etheric bleed.
Wow, energetically informed urban planning.
Right. Or what about historical analysis that incorporates the interpretation of collective arraic echoes from significant periods, getting insights that go way beyond just the written records? This deeper energetic awareness really has the potential to reshape our approach to health, the environment, societal evolution. It's potentially a completely new toolkit for understanding and interacting with reality on a much deeper level.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean? Our deep dive today into these energetic dynamics, chi, consciousness, insight, it really reveals a universe that's far more intricate, far more interconnected than maybe we commonly perceive. We've journeyed from Qi as this fundamental preform energy to the SRF as the ultimate matrix. We've seen how root forms crystallize energy, how encoded intent waves express our intention, and how echo forms return that essence, showing this continuous cyclical flow. And we've explored how these subtle phenomena, like the arraic echo we all emit and the etheric bleed that saturates places, how they subtly yet profoundly shape our realities.
And central to this whole exploration, really, has been the potential transformative power of monoatomic etheric fire, MEF, as this latent, radiant vibrational plasma within us. MEF stands out as a kind of catalytic key. It responds to pure intention, to that alignment with essence, and it works to strip away the energetic static, the psychic residue, granting access to potentially profound insights. And its potential ability to facilitate echo retrieval, that reabsorption of human timelines, really underscores its significance as a tool for deep energetic work, both personal and maybe even collective.
So the takeaway seems to be that by understanding and consciously engaging with these energetic dynamics, perhaps particularly through applying something like MEF, you can potentially unlock profound insights into how reality works and actively purify your own energetic fields. This framework seems to offer a practical pathway, or at least a map, towards heightened awareness, maybe healing, and definitely more conscious co-creation with the energetic world around us.
And that new ecology vocabulary we discussed, arraic echo, etheric bleed, echo forms, echo retrieval, and MEF provides the language, the concepts, the tools needed to actually navigate this expanded energetic landscape, to move from just passively observing these things to actively participating.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Maybe consider this. If the atmosphere of every single place you enter carries these energetic imprints, these echoes and bleeds, And if your own thoughts, your intentions, are constantly contributing to a collective energetic resource, how might that change the way you move through your daily life, how you interact with spaces, with people, or even how you think about history or the future? Is it possible that what we often dismiss as just an atmosphere or a vibe is actually something much more? A living, energetic canvas full of information and potential just waiting for your conscious participation. Something to think about.